All right, guys, here we go. First start. I can't believe she just turned over. I mean, I primed the carburetor, but holy shit, this thing just turns right on and just runs. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing some work on the Mazda b2200. The Mazda b2200. We're going to be doing the fuel system on it, and I promise you by the end of this video this thing is going to be running by itself, revving, idling, and running nice. I promise you. So just watch till the end and we'll have this thing all done. I'm going to show you how I do it. We got some new parts in for it. It's a nice day out today. It's going to be a little bit windy, so please bear with me, but I'm going to try the best I can. But I promise you everything is going to be done today. Cross my fingers that she runs. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you guys what I have for it first, and then I'll show you guys what I'm going to do, and then I will go through it and do it. So here it is. So the first thing we got is we finally got our throttle linkage kit from Redline. That came in this morning actually, so that's perfect. We're going to put that on. We have a small fuel filter from K&N here. We're going to throw this on. We have an electric fuel pump from Bravex. This runs from 2.5 to 4 psi. So remember, with these small Weber carbs, they don't need a lot of pressure like a normal bigger carb does. So just a little fuel pump like this will work. I'll take it out and show you guys in a bit. And then we got our fuel cell. Picked up this 8-gallon fuel cell from Amazon. Only paid 150 bucks. It looks good. It's going to be the shiniest thing on the truck, but it'll work well for what we're using it for. Now the reason I'm doing the fuel system on this thing is because the truck did not come with one. It was sitting, and I guess in the scrapyard they ended up taking out the fuel tank, so I'm gonna have to redo that. All the lines on are all rubber lines, so after 20 years they're all hard, so that has to be done. And then we're gonna put a fuel filters in it because it doesn't have anything, and then like I said, we'll get it all done. So let's get right to it, guys. I'm gonna show you the first thing I'm gonna do, which is drop the tank in and bolt the tank in. Now I've already cut some holes for it. I saved you guys the boring part, and I'll show you guys that now. All right, so as you can see, I got my hole cut for the fuel cell. I mean, it's sloppy, guys. It's freaking sloppy. I had to do this with a drill and then cut around it because I don't have any power back here just right yet. But I mean, if you look at the condition of the bed anyways, it doesn't freaking matter. It needs a new bed, so whatever. This is gonna work. So basically, when you get a sumped fuel cell like the one I have, you're gonna have to cut a hole so the sump sits down underneath of it, so you can run the fuel line underneath the bed here, and then we're just gonna bolt it into place. We're gonna run the fuel line underneath the truck to a fuel filter, and then we're gonna run the fuel line right up to the front to the carburetor. We're gonna put the fuel pump up there. It should pull okay because the sump sits lower, and the fuel will actually go through the lines with gravity and take it to the pump, so it should be able to bring it to the carburetor. So the first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna bolt this tank in. I've already drilled holes for it, so let's get right to it. And then after that, we're gonna lift the truck up so I can get underneath of it, and then you guys are gonna see for the first time as if I am. So this should be fun. I'm sure there's going to be some weight reduction in speed holes, so it should be funny. So let's get to it. I'm going to bolt the tank in, and I'll be right back. So now we got it all drilled out. We got the bolts in. I'll show you guys what I mean for the sump. So basically, this is a sump here. It sits lower than the actual fuel cell, so the fuel naturally wants to drain out there. So basically, you got to cut out a portion of your bed, your floor, whatever, wherever you're putting it, so that the actual fuel fittings sit lower into it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna lift the truck up. We're gonna get underneath of it. We're gonna put the bolts on, and then we're gonna start looking where we're gonna run our fuel lines. So let's get to it. This is gonna be the fun part. Alright guys, so basically what we're going to do is this truck doesn't have a full air ride system in it yet. It's just got everything, all the Schrader valves on the bags. So basically I'm just going to use my air pig here, fill it up, and you guys see it come off the ground. Yeah, just like that guys, the truck is stuck to the ground. We're going to have some problems with this one. There we go guys, we got it, just had to pull on it. All right guys, so there she is. She's off the ground. Now I'm able to get the jack underneath there, lift her up, and we'll see what's under there. Like I said, I haven't had this thing up off the ground yet, so it should be interesting. All right guys, so there it is. I know it took me 10 minutes to get the freaking thing off the ground. Do as I say, not as I do. Remember that. Give it a little shake. So now let's crawl underneath of it and we'll take a look. We'll see if these things rotted or somewhat clean. Let's get to it. Well, it's actually pretty clean down here, guys. Of course there's going to be a little rust, but what do you expect for sitting on the ground for 20 years? The floors aren't gone, but as you can see, it looks like the frame, yeah, it's got a complete custom frame on it. That's pretty neat. So it looks like the frame has been cut from the in front of the front doors and all the way back. Has a new custom frame on it. So this truck has had a lot of work done to it, guys. A lot of work done to it. So basically, we're gonna get under that backside over there. We're gonna tighten those bolts on the fuel cell, get that done, and then we're gonna start running our fuel line. Okay guys, so we're back. We got the fuel cell all bolted in, nice and tight. Now, when I was underneath the truck, I noticed that somebody's already put new hard lines from the previous tank that was in it, from the front, or from the back to the front, sorry. So what I'm gonna do, instead of running all rubber line, I thought it was all rubber line. So instead of running rubber line, I'm just gonna reuse the hard line that's there, hook up a small piece of rubber hose that goes from the fuel cell to the hard line. I'll put a filter in there and I'll show you guys. You're gonna put fuel line in it. You just want to run it out beforehand, see where you're gonna put it, see what you have to hold it to, get the right ties. I didn't get any of that stuff. I got zip ties, so this actually works out great. So I'm going to show you guys quickly what I'm talking about underneath the truck. So basically right there, it goes from the soft lines out from the fuel cell that were in the back of the truck to hard lines that run to the front of the truck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a line from there with a filter to there, and then I'm going to take that hose off and I'm going to run that line to the front, hook the fuel line up, another fuel filter, and that should be it technically. So let's get to it. The back part done, we got the fuel line on, fuel filter on. We'll give you guys a look so you can see what I've done here. Recap, we just put the new fuel cell in, all bolted down. We got fuel line on the fitting there. You can see I took that line from the fuel cell to a filter with a fuel filter holder on there, as you can see, and then ran it right to the old hard line, new old hard line that somebody put there. That runs all the way to the front, so that's all done. What I'm gonna do now is run the fuel pump at the front of the truck, then run another filter, and then run the fuel line to the actual carburetor, and we should be somewhat done. So we're going to get that done now, and then before we hook up the line to the carburetor itself, we're just going to take the fuel pump and we're going to run fuel into a bottle just so it cleans out this hard line if there's any old varnish or anything in it. So we're going to do that as well, and then we can hook up our fuel line. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go hook up the fuel pump, and we'll see where it goes from there. Alright guys, so instead of putting the fuel pump at the front of the truck, I was reading up on it, and it actually says it's supposed to be a foot away from the fuel cell, so it can actually pull fuel from the tank and push it up to the carburetor. So I'm going to show you guys where I put it. I ended up just cutting the line and actually just putting it on the frame rail. So now the only thing I got to do is wire it up, and then the whole back of the truck should be done. So I'm going to show it to you guys right quick. So we got our line to our fuel filter holder, and then I ran the fuel pump there just on the side of the frame. So basically comes in there from the tank and goes out to the hard line that goes to the front of the truck. So basically all I got to do is run power and ground, and then this is done back here, and then we can move to the front of the truck. So I'm going to get this all wrapped up, and then we're going to go do the front of the truck. Got a couple other little things to do. And then we should be able to try and start it up. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so we're just wiring up the fuel pump right now. I tried to put a ground to the back of the truck, but since it's a back half frame, I can't seem to get any ground out of it. So I'm going to run both of the wires to the front of the truck. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. Basically, I just got the ground, the positive, I just laid it out for now, and then I'm gonna make it all nice on the frame. Guys, I'm not a mechanic, I'm just doing this for fun. This isn't a super nice truck, so do as I say, not as I do. I'm just kind of showing you guys and having fun with it, so hope you guys are enjoying. We're gonna have to take this fuel line here. I'm gonna cut what's left on here off, and then we're gonna run it up. We're gonna put a fuel filter there, and then we're going to run it around to the back or the front of the carburetor and attach the fuel line there, and then I believe we should be done. The only thing I got to do is put on the throttle bracket kit so I can get the throttle cable on there, and then after that we should be able to hook the battery up and see if it starts. We're getting there, so close. Just a couple little things left to do. So I'm going to get back to that, and when I'm done, I will see you guys shortly. The other thing I got to do as well is I got to put the PVC hose back on that goes from there to underneath the carb, because if I don't, we're going to have a big vacuum leak. So I got to do that as well. I got to do that. I can hook up the fuel line. I'll show you guys that. I'll show you guys where I put the fuel filter, and then yeah, see if it starts. So I'll be back. Don't worry about it. I got our fuel filter on there, so all I got to do now is run a hose from here up and around to the carburetor, and then that is done. But first, what I got to do before I put that line on there, I got to put the bracket on. So I'm gonna leave the line off there, so it leaves me a little more room. But what I got to do is I got to take off these two bolts here, plop that bracket on there, tighten it back up. I got to take this piece apart here so then I can put this on the bracket, and then I got to take one bolt off the intake and put this little piece in for the return spring. So basically I'm gonna get all that done. Shouldn't take too long. It's pretty easy. I don't really need to show you guys. So I'm gonna get it all done, and then when I'm all done, we're gonna come back and we're trying to get the truck going. So stay tuned guys, we'll be right back. To the fuel filter, that's all done. We have our throttle bracket on here. We have the throttle cable on, all hooked up. That's all done. We have our vacuum advance hose hooked up. We have our PVC hose hooked up. We have our power hooked up to the fuel pump. So the only thing left to do now is to hook up the ground and the power. it's time to give it a shot, see what happens. So I'm gonna set you guys down outside the truck and we'll get to it. Let's see if this thing runs. Alright guys, so there's tools everywhere. We got everything done on the Mazda. We're gonna go for the very first start. I still gotta wire some of the fuel pump to do a little bit of wiring a little better, but we're just gonna crank it up and see if it works. So wish me luck. Wish me luck. Here we go. Yeah, she runs! Look at that, guys. She's running and she's freaking idling. Tell me how good that is. Listen to that. 20 years. 20 years she said. And she's purring like a kitten. Now, I don't want to run this too long because I still have to do an oil change to it. It's got 20-year-old oil in it. It needs to be changed just in case. Don't want to run it too long because it's nice and thin. So here it is. She runs though, guys. So happy, so happy. Woo! And she's idling. She's just sitting there idling by herself. So guys, I ended up having to take that wire off the choke. It didn't work. Don't do that. Put a proper switch on it. I'm gonna have to go around and play with the wiring, get it all done. But for now, she's running. She is running, guys. So now all you haters, if there is haters, can suck it because she runs. Alright guys, I'm gonna turn her off. I could do an oil change to this thing. Well guys, she runs, finally. After doing the whole fuel system, carburetor, fuel lines, fuel filters, fuel cell, everything, she finally runs. Now, the next thing I'm gonna have to do is tackle the clutch system. I'm gonna have to do the master cylinder on it. Should be able to do that. Then I'm gonna have to bleed it. And then I'm gonna have to unseize the rear wheels because the brakes are seized. And then after that, we should be able to move her from this spot and take her over to my house. So I'm so sick and tired of working in the parking lot here. It'd be so nice to have my tools at my house. So I just want to say thank you so much guys for watching. I really hope you like this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. It'll help me, it'll help the channel. The next thing we're going to be doing is, like I said, we're going to be getting this thing to move. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm sorry guys, I'm kind of excited here. It's been 20 years since this thing has ran. But make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you guys watch out for the next one because we're going to be doing the clutch system. And then hopefully the next video, this thing will be moving. Hope anyways. Thanks guys. So we'll talk to you soon. See you in the next episode.